Of mob mentality, how easily fear and groupthink can override individual conscience. One minute they're boys playing at being hunters, the next they're capable of unimaginable cruelty.
And from that point on, it's like a dam breaks. The fragile structure they'd built starts to crumble, and Jack's tribe gains power. They raid Ralph's camp, stealing Piggy's glasses.
Which, of course, aren't just glasses, are they? They represent intellect.
Welcome to Witter. Who has time to read? The podcast that brings deep dives for busy minds. Listen to AI hosts Jane and Dane and get ready to unpack the world's most captivating books in just a fraction of the time. Whether commuting, working out, or just squeezing in a quick break, we deliver key insights, thought-provoking themes, and takeaways you can carry into your day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Plus, use our links in the description to purchase this book. Your support helps us bring more engaging book discussions to you. Listen and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Who has time to read? You do, with Witter.
Welcome back to Witter, your shortcut to deep dives for busy minds. Today, we're diving into a book that's as thought-provoking as it is unsettling. William Golding's Lord of the Flies.
Imagine a group of British schoolboys, stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash. No adults, no rules. You'd think it'd be a dream come true.
Right.
But ain't not.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But Golding takes this classic setup and twists it into a chilling exploration of human nature. It's not just an adventure story. It's a stark look at what happens when that thin veneer of civilization starts to crack.
And the really interesting thing is how Golding sets us up for this initial illusion of paradise. The island is described in such lush detail, you can almost feel the warm sand and smell the tropical fruit. He even throws in a platform of pink granite, perfect for those important island meetings.
It's like he's lulling us into a false sense of security, mirroring the boys' initial excitement. Remember that conscious shell Ralph finds? It becomes this potent symbol of order, their attempt to cling to the rules and democracy of the world they left behind.
It's fascinating, isn't it? They try to recreate the structures of society, electing Ralph as their leader, establishing rules. You almost get a sense of this naive optimism, this very British belief in doing things properly, even in the midst of chaos.
But as with any utopia, things don't stay rosy for long, do they? Cracks start to appear pretty quickly. You've got Jack, the headstrong leader of the choir boys, who's all about immediate gratification. Hunting, feasting, fulfilling those primal urges. He clashes with Ralph's more democratic, long-term approach.
And you start to see how Golding subtly portrays this shift in power, Jack's charisma, his focus on basic instincts. It starts to appeal to the other boys more than Ralph's emphasis on rules and rescue.
And that's where the beastie comes in. Initially, it's this vague fear whispered amongst the younger boys, a creature lurking in the shadows of the island.
But it's so much more than just a scary story, isn't it? The beastie becomes a manifestation of their growing anxieties, their fear of the unknown. It represents the darkness that starts to consume them from within, chipping away at their rationality.
Right, and even though the older boys dismiss it at first, this fear becomes a driving force in the story. It plays on their primal instincts, their vulnerability. Think about it. If you were stranded on an island, with no way to contact the outside world, wouldn't the shadows start to feel a little menacing?
Absolutely. The human mind is wired to fill in the blanks, especially when fear takes hold. And the island itself, despite its initial beauty, becomes a breeding ground for this fear. It isolates them, amplifies their anxieties, pushing them further away from the rational world they knew.
It's almost as if the island itself is a character, actively shaping their descent into savagery. Which brings us to that turning point in the book, the moment when Jack and his hunters finally make their kill.
That scene with the pig is pivotal. It's raw, visceral, and it marks a significant shift in the boys' behavior. They become consumed by the thrill of the hunt, the bloodlust, the sheer primal energy of it all.
And the ritual that follows, the gruesome offering of the pig's head to the beastie. It's like they're trying to appease something dark and powerful, both within themselves and on that island.
It raises a chilling question. Are they succumbing to the island's influence? Or are they simply revealing their true nature? Stripped bare of societal constraints, is this primal instinct always lurking beneath the surface, just waiting for the right circumstances to emerge?
And then there's Simon. Of course, Simon. He seemed to be the only one who truly understood the nature of the beast, the darkness that was taking root within the group. His death, in that frenzy of fear and violence, is heartbreaking.
Simon's death is symbolic of the loss of reason, the triumph of primal urges over empathy and understanding. He represents the fragile hope of enlightenment, snuffed out by the very fear he was trying to unravel.
It's such a brutal depiction of mob mentality, how easily fear and groupthink can override individual conscience. One minute they're boys playing at being hunters, the next they're capable of unimaginable cruelty.
And from that point on, it's like a dam breaks. The fragile structure they'd built starts to crumble, and Jack's tribe gains power. They raid Ralph's camp, stealing Piggy's glasses.
Which, of course, aren't just glasses, are they? They represent intellect, reason, the very tools Piggy needed to understand and navigate the world. It's a blatant rejection of logic and order.
Precisely. It's a symbolic act that highlights the shift in power. It's not about survival anymore. It's about dominance, about who controls the narrative.
And it all culminates in that devastating confrontation between Ralph and Jack. Ralph, desperately clinging to the remnants of civility, ends up being hunted by the very boys he was trying to lead.
That final chase is pure terror. Golding doesn't shy away from the visceral nature of it, the primal fear that drives both the hunter and the hunted. It leaves you breathless, wondering if any part of that island paradise remains.
And then, just when you think it can't get any more bleak, there's that ironic twist of an ending.
The arrival of the naval officer. Talk about a jarring shift in perspective. Here you have these boys consumed by their own savage little world, and suddenly they're confronted with this embodiment of adult authority.
But the irony is, the officer is completely oblivious to the darkness they've just witnessed. He sees a group of shipwrecked schoolboys, a bit scruffy perhaps, but ultimately harmless.
He represents a return to the structured world, to the rules and norms they've left behind. But it also raises a disturbing question. Is the adult world really any different? Is civilization just a more sophisticated mask for the same primal urges?
It's like Golding is holding up a mirror to humanity, forcing us to confront the potential for savagery that exists within us all, regardless of age or social standing.
Absolutely. And it's not just a commentary on human nature, it's a critique of the systems we create. If a group of seemingly civilized boys can descend into such chaos, what does that say about the fragility of our own social structures?
It makes you think, doesn't it? About the power dynamics that play out in our own world, the ways in which fear and manipulation can be used to control others.
The island, in a way, becomes a microcosm of society, stripped down to its barest elements. We see the emergence of tribalism, the lust for power, the dehumanization of the other.
It's disturbingly relevant, even today. We see these same patterns play out in political discourse, in social media, in the way we interact with those who hold different beliefs.
It begs the question, how easily could we succumb to those same primal urges? If the rules were suddenly stripped away, the structures that hold society together, what would we become?
I think that's one of the reasons Lord of the Flies continues to resonate with readers decades after it was written. It's not just a story about some boys on an island. It's a reflection of our own capacity for both good and evil.
And it forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths about human nature. The ease with which we can fall prey to fear and manipulation. The thin line between civilization and savagery.
It's a lot to unpack, isn't it? But Lord of the Flies also offers a glimmer of hope. It suggests that we have a choice.
Yes. We can choose to be aware of these darker impulses, to recognize the patterns that lead to chaos and violence. We can choose to resist those urges, to build systems that promote empathy and understanding.
It's a reminder that we're not just passive observers in this grand human experiment. We have a responsibility to cultivate the better angels of our nature, to build a world where the conch, that symbol of order and reason, prevails.
And that starts with self-awareness, with recognizing the beastie within ourselves. Those primal instincts that can lead us astray.
It's about choosing to embrace the light.
Yeah.
Even in the face of darkness. So, we're putting the question to you, our listeners. If you were stranded on a deserted island, how would you maintain order? How would you prevent the descent into chaos? What choices would you make to ensure not only your own survival, but the survival of your humanity?
It's a heavy question, but it gets to the heart of what makes Lord of the Flies so compelling. It's not just the plot, it's how Golding uses symbolism to layer in these complex ideas about humanity and society.
The symbolism is brilliant. You've got the conch representing order and democracy, the fire symbolizing hope and connection to the civilized world, and even Piggy's glasses, which go beyond just eyesight. I was struck by that too. What do you make of Piggy's glasses? Symbolically, I mean.
To me, they represent intellect, reason, the ability to see the world clearly, when they're stolen. It's not just an act of aggression, it's a rejection of rational thought, a descent into pure instinct.
It's like the boys are literally and figuratively losing sight of what makes them human. And the island itself. Would you consider that a symbol as well?
Absolutely. It's a microcosm of the world, this isolated space where the rules of society no longer apply. It becomes a crucible, a testing ground for the boys' humanity.
And the fact that it starts out as this idyllic paradise only makes their descent into savagery all the more stark. It underscores how fragile civilization really is.
Exactly. Golding doesn't shy away from that contrast. He paints these vivid pictures of the island's beauty, the lush landscapes, the abundance of nature, and then juxtaposes them with the darkness that grows within the boys.
It's a reminder that evil doesn't always lurk in the shadows. It can emerge in the most unexpected places, even in the hearts of those who seem innocent.
And that's the power of Lord of the Flies, isn't it? It forces us to confront the duality of human nature, the capacity for both incredible good and unspeakable evil.
It's not a comfortable read, by any means, but it's an important one. It challenges us to look inward, to examine our own beliefs and behaviors, and to ask ourselves those difficult questions about who we are and what we're capable of.
If you haven't read Lord of the Flies, or if it's been a while, I urge you to revisit it. It's a book that stays with you, a story that resonates long after you've turned the final page.
It's a story that reminds us that the battle between civilization and savagery is ongoing, not just on some deserted island, but within each and every one of us.
And ultimately, the choice is ours. We can choose to succumb to the darkness, or we can choose to fight for the light. We can choose to build a world where reason, empathy, and compassion prevail.
So keep those thought-provoking questions in mind as you go about your day. How do we confront the beastie within ourselves and in our society? How do we cultivate the better angels of our nature?
Remember, as Golding so brilliantly illustrated, the choices we make, both individually and collectively, shape the world we inhabit. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Lord of the Flies. We hope it sparks some insightful reflections.
And until next time, keep those pages turning and those minds engaged.
Yeah.